Hello, hello. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Woo, I'm being waved at. Oh, that's so lovely. Thank you for waving, because sometimes we're just looking at everyone with their camera off, which I totally understand, because you might be there in the bath. I don't know. And that's okay, because this is the show. So, it's live. So it's much more fun than just watching TV or Netflix. So, what we are so excited to be presenting to you tonight is the amazing TM6. And what we've got there is the TM31. Now, this class is a little bit for everybody, because we know we've got some people on here tonight who have got a TM31. You're aware of our trade up offer, and you really want to know, well, why would I do that? So we want to show you all the amazing things that the TM6 can do. And I want to give you a little bit of, I guess, an analogy, and think about when you used to have your old Nokia, and now you've got your smartphone. Do you ever go back and go, oh, I wish I was still using my old Nokia? I'm guessing probably not. In fact, I hear parents say that they give their children the old Nokia as punishment when they've done something naughty, but they still want to be able to contact them, but they can't do anything else. So that's our funny little analogy that we use. But I know we've got some people in here tonight who have just recently invested in a TM6 and they want to learn a bit more. So this is going to be really something for everyone. And we really know that every time we come to a class, and myself included, we learn something. In fact, just before the show, Mandy was saying, have you heard of this tip about eggs? And I'm not going to spoil it because she's going to share it with you. But I went, I have not heard that. I look forward to learning that tonight. So I hope you all learned something tonight. And I'd love if at the end you pop in the chat what you've learned. If you are a non-Thermomix owner yet and you're just wondering, well, what's all the fuss about? You're in the right place as well. So we're going to give you a lot of information about what all the fuss is about. Now, we got very excited planning tonight's menu, and we wanted to show you a lot of things that were TM6 specific, so to show you what makes the TM6 so special. And that, of course, answers that question to the TM31 owners of, well, why would I do that? I've already got a Thermomix. So we're really wanting to do a lot of information in about an hour. So hopefully we don't run too over, but I am known for being for enjoying talking. So just for those who are new, the Thermomix is $2,579, and we do have a special offer at the moment where you can access a second jug for only $49. So anyone out there who's already got 2 bowls, you understand how valuable that is. Sometimes it's because in the middle of a recipe you might need to make some almond meal or grind some sugar or do something like that. Sometimes you might have a slow cook recipe on, and in the middle of that the kids get home from school and you go, I'm just going to make them a quick smoothie as their afternoon snack. You can take that off, put the other one on, whip up the smoothie, and then pop the slow cook, bowl back on, so your dinner's ready in time for, 6 o'clock or whatever time you eat. And sometimes you might have just cooked something and you want to make dessert and you're feeling a bit lazy, so you can pop it in the dishwasher, get out the other bowl. So there's lots of different options there. For those Team 31 people looking at trading up, our offer is $250 off the recommended retail price, plus a free bowl and blade. So it gives you $645 worth of value for your Team 31. And I'm sure if any of you have looked in the marketplace, that's a lot more than you get if you were to try and sell it privately. So it's, saves that going into that appliance graveyard that a lot of people have, it will, you can, out with the old, in with the new. Like when you get a new dishwasher, they take the old one away and you get your new one. So we've got, as I said, we've got lots of exciting things happening right now for everybody. So what I'm going to do to start with is just turn the camera around and let you look at them side by side and just explain a couple of differences. I'm going to get something cooking as well, and then we're going to go over to Mandy, because a couple of things we're doing tonight will take a little bit longer, so we want to make sure we get cooking early so we don't keep you too late. It is a very relaxed environment. If you want to ask a question, you're welcome to take yourself off mute and shout out a question, or we've got a chat box there. We'll pop the recipes that we're making today in the chat box, but if you want to ask questions in that chat box as well, we will be responding to those as well. And we'll have open dialogue, so because there are some things tonight we're doing that are a bit time sensitive, so someone might yell out and go, come to me quick, and we'll do that. So it's all very dynamic. Alrighty, so flicking the camera around here, we have the TM31 and the TM6. Now, one of the things that we always do to compare these two is, just so people can see, is cook onions, because you can see that really extra flavour that you get in using the high heat that the TM6 has. So you can see, looking over at your TM31, your highest temperature here is 100. There is a Varoma temperature for steaming, which gets up to around 118.
what we have on the TM6 is we also have all of those temperatures, but we have more options. So here, 50, 60, etc. We've got 5-degree increments as options as well. So there's some certain things like sous videing and certain recipes that you do need those more specific temperatures for. And then this does also go up to the Varoma. However, what we have in the TM6 as well is a high heat option for onions, vegetables, meats, etc., which goes up to 160. So that replicates what you would be doing in a fry pan. The other thing you'll see here is that this is all kind of, dials, knobs and buttons. What we've got here is a digital touch screen. So there's 3 dots on the bottom, which means there's 3 screens. So if I go this way, we've got all of these different modes. Now, to give you a bit of an idea, the first 3, scales, dough, and scales and dough, I've moved them around, turbos over here, are all things that you've got in your TM31, and all of these other things are all new TM6 specific modes, which is pretty exciting. Then if we scroll in the other direction, you get access to our Cookidoo platform. Now, I just want to look and see if I can see anyone's faces. Who knows what Cookidoo is? I know the people who already have it and using it are absolutely loving it. So Cookidoo is like Netflix for recipes. So you turn your machine on and have a look at what you've got in your fridge and go, I've got some chicken, or I've got some sweet potato, or I've got some, broccoli. What am I going to make? And you type that ingredient in and it gives you a whole range of recipes to choose from. And, if you type your chicken in, you've got everything from chicken soup to chicken curry, chicken enchiladas, chicken lasagna. You've got this whole range of things that you can then go, oh, I like the sound of that, and then follow the bouncing ball. So what that means is, and those with TM31s might remember that sort of learning curve that you went through with the TM6 at TM31, and that's sometimes second guessing yourself, like, oh, hang on, 2 minutes, speed 3, I can't even remember the language now, 100 degrees, 2 minutes, speed 3, and then you go, oh, hang on, what speed was it, or what time was it? So with this, the time, temp, and temperature is set for you, and then it tells you what speed to turn it on. So there's no second guessing. It's just follow the bouncing ball, which means anyone in the family can cook, and the learning curve is quick. So as soon as you get it, you are straight away saving money, creating delicious meals, and really getting the whole family involved in making delicious meals in the kitchen. So what I'm going to just quickly do, and there is so much more to talk about with the differences, but as we go tonight, each of us are doing different things, so we want to be able to talk about those. But as I said, we do want to get cooking as well. What I did in advance, just because I didn't see any value in putting it on and then waiting 15 minutes for this to happen, was that I did onions in both machines. And I just wanted you to see, so the same period of time, but with the TM31, I used the Varoma, so I used the highest temperature it has, but with the TM6, I used the high heat. I'm going to just tip the camera down so you can see. So you can see these onions, and they've sautéed lovely. They're quite translucent, so they're definitely cooked. They haven't really sort of caramelized. Now I'm going to grab my bowl here. You can see that flavor there and that caramelization. And if you have a look at the color of those, and I can tell you, you can smell the difference and you can definitely taste the difference. So this is just a really simple little exercise, but it's just a great one. And we do it at our open houses where you can just give you a really good visual of what that looks like. So there we go. So that's TM31 onions, TM6 onions. Now nothing's going to go to waste here because I'll probably use these in a soup tomorrow, but these ones I'm going to use tonight on a focaccia. So stepping into that while I've still got you is with that high heat and with any of those modes, to action them or access them, you can just type that mode, the name of that mode, into Cookidoo. So if you type high heat into Cookidoo, it's not just onions. It's all sorts of vegetables, it's chicken cubes, it's beef, it's all sorts of things. So you have a really great opportunity to add depth of flavour to any of those things in a set and forget situation, not in I've got a hot fry pan going and I need to stir that every couple of seconds to make sure things don't burn or catch fire or whatever. So what I'm actually going to do is, and in fact I will bring you a bit closer just to see the screen, that right there, is I have got the high heat capsicum here. So I saved into my weekly planner. So one of the other amazing things that using Cookidoo, you can create recipe plans your weekly meal plans, shopping lists. You can even send that shopping list to Woolies. So you can see here I've got sautéed capsicum. So that's got yellow and red there. I've just got red here. So again, you can be a bit flexible. And I was just saying to the girls before we started, I often do this if I'm having pizzas and doing vegetarian pizzas. Now, for those who are new to TM6 completely, when you go into any recipe, you scroll down, it gives you your level of difficulty, your prep time, your total time, your portion size, your ingredients down the left, your method on the right, and any extra tips and nutritional value on the left-hand side there as well. So leaves nothing to chance. You've got all the information you need. But when you want to start cooking, you just press start cooking. It's as simple as that. So one of the other things about the TM6 is it does weigh in 1 gram increments. So I'm just adding my oil here. And I think oils are a really interesting one because with the 31, it weighs in 5 grams. And then as you get higher, it only weighs in 10 grams. So it actually, to do really precise cooking, it makes it a little bit tricky. So now I'm going to add in my capsicum there. I had a little bit over, but I've just gone with that. What I sometimes do if I'm doing it for pizzas is I actually, I'll do half capsicum, half zucchini. So you can really play with that as well. Now it's asking me to put the splash guard on. That is a TM6 specific attachment, and it is a safety attachment. It's so we don't get tempted to go, what does sauteing capsicum at 160 degrees look like, and get oil in our eye? You know, because sometimes we do dumb stuff because we get excited. So to avoid us doing dumb stuff when we're excited, we pop this on. All righty, so I have to say done that I've put that on. And now this is going to go for 12 minutes. And this is our high heat symbol. So maximum temperature, 160. And when you're doing a mode, the modes are just on or off. So it's as simple as that. All righty, so that's going to go for 12 minutes. We're going to go over to Mandy because she's got some magic happening in her kitchen. And I know you're all going to want to make the dish that she's got on her bench tonight. Hey, Mandy.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Yeah, I'm excited. So I am making biryani. It's called biryani style rice. And I'll just show you. So on here, on the left-hand side of my screen, I've got 3 lines. I just go into my week. And there we go. Ready to go. So, you know, I think Michelle probably mentioned that anybody can have Cookidoo. You just work out your week, and anybody can come in here, turn on the screen and work out what they're having for dinner. So I'm starting off, I've got 3 garlic cloves in here and some ginger. So that's all going in. Measuring cup on, 5 seconds, speed 7. And there is a green line. And what happens with this is you can just turn as fast as you like and it won't go past the green line. So the difference between this and a TM31 is there is a slight delay in unlocking the lid. And that is because often if you're cooking soups and things, you just want the contents to settle. So there we go, all beautifully chopped up. Always pushing down to the bottom and going round in a clockwise direction so that your spatula is hitting the rounded side of the glass. Okay, next, 20 grams of oil. Now it says oil of choice. I'm actually using ghee, which I made last night in the Thermomix. It is absolutely delicious. It is literally 500 grams of unsalted butter, and it just cooks for 2 hours. And honestly, it's like caramel. I can eat it off the spoon. It's so delicious. And then I've got 1 brown onion cut into wedges. So when you're using high heat, I'm not using high heat with this actually, but just so you do know, if you're using high heat for onions, they must be in wedges. You can chop them up after they've cooked, but they need to cook in wedges. Very intelligent machine. It knows if they're not in wedges, I can tell you. Won't let you do it. So without the measuring cup, I'm just cooking for 1 minute 30 on speed stir, 120 degrees. And just quickly, because that's not going to take very long, before I move on to the next thing. On the top of the screen here, if you can see this, there are 3 little dots. And wherever you've got 3 little dots, whether it's on Cookidoo, whether it's on the screen of your Thermomix, it means you get access to other options. So if I click on those three little dots, it tells I can open the preview. So I can then see what's happening next. I can also from there go recipe detail. And recipe detail brings me back to the beginning. But what it means is I can come in here whilst this is still cooking and just see, you know, what other ingredients I need. Because obviously we prepped for this, but normally we don't. You know, you just cook. How about whilst hang on? And the other thing, sometimes actually it said that in the previous step, that it told me roughly, well, whatever many grams of onions, but didn't put scales up. So you can access your scales from those three dots as well. And lastly, you can cancel a recipe, which I obviously don't want to do, seeing as I'm in the middle of this one. So we will just come back here. Also, in the last 20 seconds before I move on, you've got a little thing in the middle of the screen here, and this is actually a timer. I put mine on just to keep my screen on, but you can put it on. It works away in the background. It's awesome if you're baking something and then you're going on to cook something else, but it will just let you know when the time's up. So here we go. All right, so my onions sizzling away in there. They've got a way to go, but that's okay. Oh, they smell amazing. 250 grams of chicken thigh fillets or skinless chicken breasts cut into cubes. All right, so I'm putting those in. And a quarter of a teaspoon of sea salt. And some brown pepper. Ensure that the chicken's distributed. So I've done that. Now I'm going to put this splash guard on because we're going to access high heat again here. Again, same symbol. I've got 5 minutes of cooking. Okay, so I think we're going to Diana.
We will go to the lovely Diana because she's got something that's going to take a few minutes to cook as well. Where is she?
I'm here.
Found you. Here we
You
go.
found me?
Found you.
Hi everyone, Diana here. I am making the honeycomb. So the beauty about the high heat mode in the TM6 is that it allows you to do sugar work. So you can make caramels, toffees, and honeycomb, which is super exciting. And I don't know about you, but I do get a bit nervous about making any sort of sugar work on the stove in the traditional method and using candy thermometers and so forth, but the TM6 does make it quite foolproof. So I've got the recipe already up here. What I love about the Cookidoo recipes is that there are pictures for all the recipes. So if you're a visual person like me and you want to know what the finished product is going to look like, you'll always have a picture there as well as all the information. So we're just going to press start cooking and start going ahead. So it's just explaining that we're going to do some sugar work and just letting you know that we'll do also a pre-clean mode. So the good thing about the TM6 is that it actually cleans itself, which is lovely. It's actually one of the most favorite modes by all my customers and us consultants. And it's just asking me to line a baking tray. So I'm actually doing something a little bit special. I'm using this honeycomb mold, which you can pick up from the mix shop. So it's silicone, non-stick, and just beautiful to make honeycomb in because it makes a really special gift for someone, or if you are hosting, just makes it a little bit more special than just pouring honeycomb onto a tray. But if you have a tray, that's fine. And there are actually recipes in there to make, I think, Persian style honeycomb as well, where you've got dried rose petals and saffron and pistachios. So the sky's the limit with your Thermomix. Now, the first step is asking us to sift a tablespoon of bicarbonate of soda, which I have already done, and I've just put that into a bowl onto the side. Now we need to add 300 grams of white sugar, and the scales pop up automatically. So we'll see if I've got enough here because I was getting a little bit low. There we go, 300 grams there. Press next, and we need 80 grams of water. that spot on there. And now the recipe is asking for 20 grams of honey or golden syrup. But I think if you want a really nice flavoured honeycomb, we all recommend use honey. You can use golden syrup if you have that, but I think just honey gives it that beautiful flavour, and especially if you've got a really nice floral honey, you can experiment with all different honeys like lavender honey and so forth. It'll just make that taste a little bit better. So we need 20 grams there. Just pop that in. Beautiful. And press next. And so what's really handy about this is that you've got the instructions, but there is a little picture there. So we're going to pop the lid on, but without the measuring cup on top. So it sits on like that, and press next. And then this is going to cook for about 22 minutes and maximum temperature. And that little symbol is indicating, I hope you can see that, is that we're going to do the sugar work now. So all we need to do is turn the dial, and that's it. And just sit back and relax and wait for the next step. So who wants to go next? Mandy, back to you.
Me. Mandy, because I'm guessing that 5 minutes is up. Oh, how's that?
Awesome.
Girls?
49 seconds.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Because I've got the next thing that we're going to do in this is actually use the rice cooker mode, which is one of the other modes in on the TM6, which is very exciting. So 29 seconds. So I know that the next bit, if I actually look at the preview, it says scrape down the sides of the bowl. Well, it's going to ask me to add a few ingredients first, but it did ask me also after that to weigh in my rice and wash it, and I have done that. So let's go back to here. 12 seconds, 11 seconds. Here we go. 10, 9, 8. Yeah, so it's good to rinse your rice to get all that starch out so it's not gluggy. All right. Okay, so asking me to scrape down the sides of the bowl. Sizzling away like crazy. I don't know if you can see, I've got some caramelization on some of the onions there. I'm fogging up my glasses. Okay. Then 2 fresh tomatoes, approximately 300 grams. I didn't actually weigh these, I just did cut up 2 tomatoes. That'll do. Then I've got 20 grams of tomato paste, which is in here, along with half a teaspoon of Kashmiri chili. I've got turmeric, I've got ground cumin, I've got coriander, I've got black pepper, and I've got salt. So I'm going to put all of those in. Okay. And the reserved and chopped ginger and garlic. So that's all going back in. Okay. Then that's going to cook for 2.5 minutes. And we can go back to somebody else for that. How are you going, Michelle? Are you nearly done with your?
Yeah, a few seconds. So I think I can get my dough, my dough in the oven. Here we go. Hello. So I've only got a few seconds. Oh, there you go. A few seconds left on my capsicum. I'm gonna push this back, make sure I've got a bowl on there. Beautiful. Righty. Here I am. Right, so I actually am going to make dough later because I did have a couple of people asking me about making dough, but as most of us know with dough that it does need to prove. So this is my pre-made one. It's just about bursting out of the seams of my bread mat here. So I'm going to put the camera down so you can see that rather than me, because I think this will be much more exciting than looking at me. There we go. And you can see my beautiful fluffy dough. Now I'm actually just going to put a bit of oil on my hands to work with that. And I'm actually just going to turn this into a focaccia. But the concept of dough, whether it be that you're making bread, a pizza dough, rolls, pastries, there's all different things. But you can just see how lovely this dough is looking. Now, what I'm going to do to put it in the oven, these bread mats are incredible. So these are available in our mix shop, but they're actually also available as a host reward. And you can get them as a host reward as the pairs. So this little trick here, because I want to put it on a baking tray, which I've got here. And so what I'm going to do is flip this upside down. So now I've got that dough on the size mat that I want it. If you've got a big wide oven, a 900 wide oven, that will fit. But for me, I've only got a 600 wide oven. Now with the focaccia, you know how they sort of have all those nice little holes in, and then you can sort of put things in them. So the first thing I'm going to do is put these beautiful onions that I did before. And I'm really just going to spread them out. You've got to be not afraid to get your hands dirty here, and just, and you can look at the color of those. I wish you could smell them as well, because they're just delicious. I remember my husband's aunt, who's no longer with us, used to just say to me, her best tip was just have some onions frying when your husband gets home. Doesn't matter what you feed him after that. So I always think of her when I have onions frying and I have that beautiful smell through the house. So I've got those there. And now I'm going to grab my other jar here. And you can see here I've got those. Oh, I probably fogged up then. So let me put that there and show you my beautiful capsicum. And again, this smells delicious. And it's really sauteed it beautifully. So you can see if you were doing, say, you know, vegetarian pizzas or something like that, how sauteing them first can give you some beautiful flavour. And the thing that's great about it is you could do that the night before. So if you know you're having a pizza night on a Friday night, you could do that and you just walk away. So that was, I think it was 12 minutes, but I would use my fingers, but this is obviously hot now. So my kids always come to me when I'm doing these. What are you making tonight, Mum? And when I told them this is what I was making tonight, they were so excited. So this is, you know, this is when they come out after 9 o'clock for their, you know, their second dinner. I'm hoping that they don't eat it all, because that means I've got something to put in the lunchbox tomorrow if I've got some left. But of course, who doesn't like fresh things from the oven? Now, what I will share with you as well is that there are some great gluten-free versions of these as well. So if you're looking at this going, I'm celiac or I'm gluten intolerant and I can't have that, don't worry, we cater for everybody. And in fact, gluten-free now is probably one of the easiest dietaries to cater for when it comes to those things. So I'm going to slide this. So it's pretty simple, right? So I'm going to just slide that on to there. And in a second, I'm going to throw that in the oven. What do you think so far? Because obviously I haven't been able to see your faces, but how cool does that look already? And you can put anything on there. So, you know, I like to put olives on, but I used them all the other day and something. I'm going to put a bit of this on, which is a Himalayan salt with chili and garlic. So just add some flavour there. You could put rosemary. You could just put a bit of salt. You know, me being half Italian, I'm probably a bit heavy-handed with the salt and things. But basically, that's it. So these are the sort of things, and that's cooled down a bit. I'm just going to sort of dig some holes so I can really get it in there. Beautiful. That's it. What do you think? It's going in the oven. The seagulls are going to be around in about 20 minutes.
Making me hungry.
Is it making you hungry? What did you have you had dinner tonight, or is this biryani your dinner?
No, I've had something tonight.
I'm just scraping there was a little bit of oil in the bowl that was from the capsicum. So, you know, I don't like to waste any bit of flavour. I like it to all be on my food. So I'm going to throw that in the oven and show you at the end what that looks like.
Awesome. Michelle, can I just move over to me?
Got it?
You okay if we come back to me?
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you.
Perfect timing, my friend. Perfect timing.
Thank you. All right. So what it's asked me to do now is to weigh the basmati rice, rinse it thoroughly, and then I'm going to add, I'll just show you what this is looking like in here without tipping it over. So it's looking all nice and tomatoey and delicious. Tearing, I've got 550 grams of cold water. Was a pretty good guess. I didn't weigh that at all. And then I'm going to put my rinsed rice in. So this is the TM6 simmering basket. It differs in the fact that it has a lid. Mine's had a major workout this weekend. I made 7 batches of tomato ketchup. So with this sitting on top. All right. And talking about dinner, I went retro. We had pineapple, so I put pineapple into the into Cookidoo, and I had sweet and sour meatballs. So it was actually very good. All right, add the rinsed rice, stir with a spatula. Okay, through the hole, I'm not quite sure why it's through the hole, but I have to add 1 cinnamon stick and some cardamom pods, green ones, which I have actually squashed. And they're going in there. And simmering gasket goes on top. And then this is the rice cooker mode. So it's not telling me until I turn how long this is going to take to cook. But the other thing I was going to mention, I haven't got it organized, but I could have maybe some beans or some peas or something in there, which I could then add into the mixture at the end. But all we do is, as Michelle said, like for high heat, you just turn for this and it will tell me 29 minutes. So I will leave you in peace. I'm actually going to go to my second Thermomix and that to speed things up a bit. But who do we need to go to now?
Not me. I've still got 11 minutes. So.
Sorry, how long have you got?
11 minutes.
Oh, beautiful. That's all right. Well, I'll make my dough. I've sort of done it back to front because I still wanted to show you how easy it is to make dough. So there's lots of different recipes that we can follow. The one that was the one that we'll pop in the chat, which is a Nico Moretti focaccia dough. But the other one I make all the time and was chatting about just with a customer today was pizza dough. And so many more people now have got pizza ovens at home, which is kind of exciting. And of course, lots of Thermomix people have because we have the Avana on our mix shop and we all love the Avana. So when I cook a pizza in the oven for 10 to 15 minutes, it's a minute and a half, 90 seconds. Throw it in, toss it around every 20 seconds and pull it back out and you've got a perfectly cooked pizza. So it's quite incredible. So a lot of people are getting quite excited about that, but you need a good dough for that. So what I'm going to do is I'll spin my camera around again to my screen and just show you what I was talking about before. So, oh, sorry, not this one I want to go. I'm going to show you from first principles here. So if you're looking at Cookidoo on your screen, what's great about it is that it looks the same here as it does on your phone, on your laptop, wherever. So it doesn't matter what device you're using. You don't have to be learning different methods. Now, if you're scrolling through and you go, oh, that cauliflower falafel looks pretty interesting. I'm going to have a look at that. You know, oh yeah, that looks delicious. Have a look at the ingredients. Yep. I can actually tap those 3 little dots there and add that to my shopping list, because if I'm going to cook it, I'm going to need the ingredients. I can say add to my shopping list and I can add it from here to cook today. Now from the app, I can add it to any day, but here you've just got those 3 options. And then I'm going to show you in a minute where that is. But the other thing I'm going to do now is because I want pizza dough. So although I've got that saved, I just want to show you how it works, that you can just straight away be searching for that through Cookidoo. So straight in. Now, the other great thing about Cookidoo is that you've got lots of different filters. So I mentioned before you could type in an ingredient. You can actually add other options to those ingredients as well. You can add tags like I'm looking for budget friendly, or I'm looking for gluten-free or dairy-free. So here I subscribe to a few different countries, which is why I've got multiple options there, but I'm just going to go with the first one. And again, as we explained before, it's got all that information there, your ingredients, etc. And I'm just going to go start cooking. So pizza dough is one of the things that I think so many people talk about, you know, Friday night being pizza night. And then of course, when you go to Thermomix, that pizza for me used to be like a, you know, just a wrap, but it wasn't very nice. Well, I thought it was all right until I had the real thing. So it tells me to lightly grease a bowl. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use my mat. So you saw that I've got that mat, but if you don't have a mat, you can just get a bowl out and rub some oil around that. And the first ingredient is 220 grams of lukewarm water. So I've got that sitting here. And as we mentioned, it weighs it in 1 gram increments. So every time you press next and go to the next instruction, it will tear those scales back to 0 for you to add in your next ingredient. So it doesn't matter what else is in the bowl, it will actually take it back to 0, and then you can add in that next ingredient. So next is a teaspoon of sugar. So I've got that here. Now, if you want to get spoons out to measure, you can. If you're someone who kind of just wants to tip a bit in and go, she'll be right, you can do that too. So the thing about these recipes is that they're what we call guided recipes, which means you're in control. So you do what feels right for you. If you've never got a spoon out to put something in before, you don't have to start doing that just because you've got a Thermomix. But if you are a precise cook and that's what you like to do, be authentic to who you are as a cook. So I've added in the yeast. Now, I just buy this yeast and keep it in the freezer. It's more cost effective than buying the little sachets. And then by keeping it in the freezer, it just stays fresh and ready to use at any time. So because I had lukewarm water, that's just stirring that through for 20 seconds so the yeast and the sugar and the water will all activate. When you do breads and things, it's actually more likely that you'll put cold water in and it'll set it for that 37 degrees because it's actually more crucial. Whereas with a pizza dough, you're not looking for a big rise in your bread. So, you know, it said warm water. It might have been 30, it might have been 40. It'll be okay. Here we go. And can you hear that lovely little chime? So for those 31 owners out there, you can actually adjust the volume, the duration, and the tone of that sound. And funnily enough, when those onions were ready just before the class, one of my daughters ran in and went, "Is that TM31 going, Mum?" Because she hasn't heard that sound for a very long time. So it did make me laugh. So now I've just got 400 grams of flour here. Now, if you are doing a lot of pizza things, you can buy things like that in bulk. So, you know, when you go to the supermarket, always at eye level in a pretty box, it might be a kilo of flour for, you know, $5 or $6. But if you go to the markets or Costco or look down lower, you'll get bigger bags, which are much more cost effective. So if you are making your own, you know, you're having pizza every Friday night or you're making your own breads, that's definitely worth looking at getting that flour in bulk. And when you do that, it works out, this pizza dough, I think works out, it costs me less than $1 and I make 3 pizzas out of it. So I assure you that if I rang a pizza shop on a Friday night, it'd cost me a lot more than that. If anyone is actually ordering pizzas out, give us an idea of what that costs now, because I haven't done it for so long. It's probably doubled since I used to do it. I know a few months ago I bought a roast chook at a you know, charcoal chicken place, and I nearly fell over when I saw the price. So now it's just salt, teaspoon of salt. So in that goes. Maybe notice my spoon's a bit more of a tablespoon in there, but you know, I quite like my salt. Now, this is where the magic happens. I'm just going to bring it in so you can see. So, and to be fair, you can do this in your TM31. But for those who've never seen a Thermomix before, and as I said, I did have a conversation with a customer today about now, I'm just going to flick that dial. It's kneading, and it's going to knead for 2 minutes. Now, when I first did my training, now, Diana, I'm aware that you're going to need me to go to you quickly, so just sing out when that is.
I've got 4 minutes, 20 seconds, so all good.
So what I was going to say, when I did my training, you know, 11 years ago, I remember the girl saying that that's equivalent of about 1,000 hand kneads. Now, I don't know who counted that, but I assure you I've never tried because I never made a pizza before now because I would never have done 1,000 hand kneads. So it just is a really powerful, sometimes they call it interval mode, and it goes really strong in one direction and really strong in the other direction. So you get a beautiful dough that's all fully combined to use. Has anyone popped anything in the chat? Any questions I need to respond to? No.
I might be able to quickly, I've done it, I've got my second Thermomix here, so I can turn this on.
Yeah, absolutely, Mandy.
Do it again later, so I might be able to get that done whilst waiting for, okay, thank you very much. Yeah, it's all good. And yeah, Diana, I know it's crucial timing. All right, so I've got the biryani style rice up on this Thermomix too. And just to show you, I don't need to do all the stuff that's happening on the other one. So I can just use this down arrow. I can scroll down to the egg bit, which is right down here, and get going from there. But this is the little tip that I learned from someone. Apparently, and I tried this yesterday, it worked really well. When you tap the bottom of an egg a couple of times, it will sound slightly different. You'll notice, or you'll know when you've done this, but it actually breaks the membrane in the egg. So you know how often when you have a hard-boiled egg or a boiled egg, you've got a bubble. This will stop that from happening, and it will make your eggs easy to peel. So I tried it yesterday and it did a really good job. So I'm going to do it again. Thinking, oh, that sounded good. And this one, so it sounds like it's cracked, but it hasn't. All right, now with the egg boiler mode, the eggs go directly in. The blades don't turn in this mode, so it's not, you don't have to go into the simmering basket or anything. Then I'm going to fill it to 1 litre. I always take mine to the sink and do a quick guess.
I think the egg boiler mode was one of the ones that we got so excited about as consultants. So you can put 2 to 6 eggs in, pop over to the sink, fill it up to the 1 litre mark, and choose how you want your eggs. Amazing.
Yeah. So it says place the simmering basket on. And it's saying medium. Now, I only put 2 eggs in. I know it said 4 because I did 2 yesterday. And I don't like my eggs too runny. So I'm actually going to go medium hard. But see, again, there's no time. I'll turn it on. Whoops, I've gone medium. There you go. 12 minutes. All right. So that's, and I'll let you know, well, the eggs I peeled yesterday peeled super easily and they're perfect. And there were no bubbles or anything. So it's a cool little trick, I reckon. I think we probably need to come to you, Diana, don't we?
Yes, we do. Woohoo!
Exciting.
So I've got 1 minute left, but the thing is with the sugar work, you do have to act quickly. But when you're doing just your normal regular recipes, whether it's soups, curries, pasta, stews, whatever, if that step is complete and you'll hear the little ring for the next step, if you don't run straight away, that's completely okay. I have had people come over in the middle of the recipe, then the machine, the TM6 will actually shut down after 15 minutes of not being used. And then when you go back to it and turn it on, it will actually give you the option, do you want to continue your recipe? So even if you are interrupted, you don't need to worry. Your recipes aren't going to be ruined. And this actually happened to me, or it has happened a few times actually, which is lovely, because normally if you were doing your traditional cooking, you'd either burn the onions or, you know, something will be overcooked and forgotten about. But I've got 9 seconds left, and I'm only getting nervous because everyone is watching me. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. And it's just asking me to add that sifted bicarb soda around there. And then quickly with a spatula, we're going to just move that around and hopefully you can see there.
Yep, that's a good angle.
Yeah. And now I'm just going to pour that in.
And then just spread it out a bit as you go.
Yep. And just gently, you don't want to press too hard when you're making honeycomb because you don't want to pop all those beautiful air bubbles that you're creating there. There we go. Oh my goodness. How exciting. My boys are going to love me. Absolutely love me when they wake up to find this.
Now, we always say the big tip here is don't be tempted to lick that spatula. It's very
No. So I'll just wipe the edge there like so. And it does tell you not to overmix. And we press next. And then transfer that in there. And so now what it's asking me to do is add 1,000 grams, which is a litre of water. There we go. That's almost that. And we'll pop. Yep, I'm a bit over, but that's okay. So the alarm bells aren't going to go on. And 50 grams of vinegar. Pop that in. And press next. And pop the lid on. Like so. And here we've got the self-cleaning mode. So somebody asked a question about the self-cleaning mode. So that is one of the modes in the TM6. So if you swipe across, you'll find the pre-cleaning mode there. So generally, if you are doing any sort of cooking, as soon as I've finished, I normally just empty the contents, pop a litre of water just from the tap, so just roughly, a tiny drop of detergent, and you can actually set the cleaning mode depending on what you've made, whether it's just a soup or a smoothie. So it'll only go for a minute or two. So a quick clean, anywhere to dough. So if you're doing cakes, biscuits, slices, there's a universal clean. So just your general cooking. And what this is actually cleaning, there's a sugar work like fat caramel cleaning. So all that the honeycomb that has set on there, and look, I'll just show you my spatula. You can see that set rock hard. So that's why this TM6 has asked us to do that pre-clean mode straight away. So it's actually going to clean it beautifully, so we don't have to soak it afterwards. And the final cleaning setting is your browning mode. So when you're doing the any high heat work, and you do get a little bit of browning in the bottom of the bowl, like you would in a saucepan if you're doing traditional cooking on the stove, there is a specific cleaning mode on that too, and it's just a little bit more hardy. It heats up the water just to dissolve and make everything clean. So then all you need to do is rinse and continue on with the next recipe as well. And like the TM31, the TM6, all the parts can go in the dishwasher. So generally I'll use the pre-clean mode in between all my recipes. And if you're worried that you'll not sure if you're going to use your TM6 very often, when I purchased my TM6, I thought I might use it 3 times a week to cook 3 dinners, not realizing that I use my Thermomix a minimum 3-4 times a day for breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert, snacks, and everything else. So I use the pre-clean mode in between all my different recipes, but at the end of the day, I like to pull it apart and throw that in the dishwasher with everything else. So it's very user-friendly, and because there are so many one bowl recipes, it's a lot less washing up, which I love. And with the built-in scours, a lot less mess as well. You don't need all the measuring spoons and cups and so forth. So if you are cooking with little kids who like to help in the kitchen, it's actually a lot less messier and easier to manage too. And I always like to point out, because you never know who's got little ones or grandkids around, that the TM6 is fantastic for their education because it gets them reading all the different instructions. And there's so much maths involved when you're looking at time, temperature, speed, and numbers. It's actually really good to get the little ones involved in cooking from an early stage, because obviously if you do have any fussy eaters, getting them involved in the cooking does help, and getting them to choose their meals and helping make their meals, you've got a greater chance of them eating your food. So I know I've just learned from experience. So always like to mention that because it's something that people don't really think about, but it's another positive note about the TM6. And so that's pretty much my recipe all done, and this honeycomb is setting now, so we just need to allow that to rest until room temperature, and then all I need to do is flip that onto a chopping board and break up the pieces. And I think, Michelle, have you got a finished product there for everyone to see?
I just flipped mine out. Hang on, I'll just share the screen with you. Oh, I just flipped mine out, and I actually banged the bottom of it, so a few of them broke up because they come out quite big pieces. So, and I love all these little sort of crummy bits because I put them through ice cream or on top of if you make a cheesecake or something like that, or if you're just sneaking past and you just want to sneak a bit in. But yeah, as you can see that by having the mold, I've got the gorgeous little bee mold on the top there. So yeah, I had just popped it out of here. I made it before. It actually doesn't take too long to set at all. One of the other little tips about the honeycomb, actually, the recipe will say to use honey or golden syrup. We've actually found that it's nicer to use honey. Did you mention this already, Diana?
Yes, I did. But that's okay.
No, I was just realising you probably said that when I was in my oven. So
no,
yeah.
that's okay. But I did want to also mention that there is a recipe to temper chocolate in the TM6 as well. So if you like chocolate covered honeycomb, we've done that a few times as well, and that is delicious.
Yeah.
And the other thing I just wanted to mention was a tip we learned yesterday about great to wash out your bowl, but what you can do is actually put some milk in it and a bit of cacao powder, we were told, and make a little crunchy milkshake thing.
Yeah, absolutely. While you're on me still, I'll just show you my dough. So a little tip for those who are new to Thermomix: if you pop your bowl upside down, that's the bottom of the blade there. So if you give that a little swivel there, it'll actually drop that dough out for you. That's come out pretty clean. Now you can use the turbo, but if you sort of, some doughs are a little bit stickier. So if you need to, you can use a turbo button. I like to oil my hands when I work with dough. Some people like to use flour. Some don't use anything. That's okay. And I'm just going to roll that in a ball. And this will be some after school snacks or something tomorrow, because I'm guessing that other one in the oven's going to be well and truly gone by then. But you saw how big that one was before, and you can see how small that is now. So that had really proven or grown a lot in that time. So usually, I think the recipe says this makes 2 or 3 pizzas. We like ours quite thin, so I normally make 4 out of that. And now in the mat, I can just wrap that up. And because I'm not going to use that until tomorrow, I'll actually pop that in the fridge, and then it'll just do a slow proof. Whereas if you're having pizzas, then you sort of get your ingredients ready, or your toppings ready, and then it'll be ready to go with that. So that's how easy it is to make dough. And it's the same process for breads, but you pop them in a bread tin instead. So that's also how that works. Now, Diana, do you want to do your yogurt now? Mandy, is there anything you need to show, or you're cooking now?
No, I've got 2 minutes of egg cooking and 4 minutes of the rice cooking, but I don't think everybody needs to see me just pull eggs out with a slotted spoon. I think that's okay.
Well, let's go to the yogurt, because what we really wanted to show you as well is, and particularly at Team 31 owners, we know you love and you love the recipe community. One of the amazing features of Cookidoo is that you can pull recipes from the recipe community into your Cookidoo platform, so you get a guided recipe on your screen. And Diana's going to show us that, and also the fermentation mode, because there's a yogurt recipe that she loves from the recipe community. So although there are lots of yogurt recipes in Cookidoo as well, we thought this would be one to show you for that reason. So we will pop back over to the our glasses on. There we go. Found you.
Thank you. So I'm just trying to bring this a little bit closer so you can see the screen a little bit better there. So like Mandy mentioned, any dots or lines means that there's options. So I'm actually going into my recipes, and you've got different options here. So you've got bookmarks. So they're recipes that you might do quite regularly. So in there I have actually different yogurt recipes. I've got boiled rice. I have overnight oats, my favorite porridge recipe, because there are so many different porridge recipes, but all those recipes that we kind of do quite regularly, and that's just a quick access there. We also have created collections. So it's like your little Spotify playlist that you've created yourself, or I think of like Pinterest, you have your little folders, and my kids each have their own favorite folders of their own favorite recipes. And then I have some quick dinners or big dinners if I've got guests coming over. So everything is all sectioned up to how I like it, and you can do that as well. We also have saved collections. So and straight away we'll have the basics cookbook that comes with your Thermomix saved in there. But then there are also other cookbooks in Cookidoo, and they're called collections, that you can save in there. So anything from, like, if you're wanting to eat healthy and you want some Sam Woods recipes, or if you're a skinny mixer fan, there's a great collection of skinny mixer recipes there, which makes it so much easier, because if you do any sort of manual cooking where you've got to set the time, temperature, speed, sometimes there is room for error when you forget to set the temperature, for example. But when you've got that guided cooking, everything is all preset for you. So essentially you're just reading, doing what it's asking you to do, and pressing next or turning the dial. So it just takes that thinking out, which is brilliant if you're just very busy, time poor, you've got little ones, you're distracted, or you're just multitasking. It's great that you don't have to think about that. And the other folder that I'm about to show you is my created recipes. So the created recipes is a feature in Cookidoo where if you do have a recipe, for example, in Cookidoo, but you like to change it, you can actually change it permanently and save it into that folder. You can import your favorite recipes from the recipe community straight into here, and this is one of those recipes that I'm using today. And you also still get the option to change that, but also if you do have your own family favorite recipes that you've managed to convert to the Thermomix, you can actually save them in here as well. So if you do have any grandma's cookie recipes that you want to be able to make in your Thermomix and save, and everyone else be able to make them, you can save that in here. So the recipe I'm actually doing is from the recipe community. It's a pot set yogurt recipe. And what I love about it is that it does make a smaller amount of yogurt, because I used to use a Cookidoo recipe that would make about 2 litres or 2 kilos in one go. But I found this recipe for one of my customers who just wanted a smaller quantity. So I'm just going to press start cooking. And it always lets you know that you have imported this recipe. So press next. And so it's just saying add the ingredients and mix at 10 seconds, speed 4. So down the bottom, you'll have a picture that looks like scales. So if we bring that up, the scales will automatically come up. And then also all the ingredients are going to be listed in here. So we need a litre of milk, and you can use whatever milk you want. So I've just got some A2 milk because it seems to agree with my family's tummies a bit more. But if you wanted to use lactose-free milk, or you wanted to use organic milk, or just, you know, the cheapest milk, UHT milk that you can find, you certainly can. And this recipe does use UHT milk. If you wanted to make yogurt with fresh milk, there are other recipes in Cookidoo for that. Now, we also need to add some full cream milk powder. So I've already got some measured out here. But if you're wanting to measure it up, you just tear the scales there, get it to going to 0. Now, this recipe says 75 grams. I actually like a really rich, thick yogurt, so I put 100 grams here. So what I can actually do is go back into that recipe and set it for 100 grams. But I've left it because sometimes I just want a lighter yogurt, so then I'll follow this recipe. The next thing we need to do is add some starter. Now, I just want to show you some yogurt that I actually made earlier today. And this is what the yogurt turns out. So basically, you need a starter to make some yogurt. So when you don't have any yogurt at home, you do need to purchase just any sort of natural yogurt, preferably just an unflavoured one. And I usually think that purchase, or the starter that you use a yogurt that you like the taste of, because those bacteria are then going to transfer into the yogurt that you make, and it's going to have a similar taste. So this is just to show you how beautiful that yogurt that I have made and how nice and thick it is. And once the yogurt is made and you pop it in the fridge, it does thicken up a little bit, but I've literally only a few hours taken this out, so it will actually get a little bit thicker. So if you do have an older batch of yogurt, you can use that. Or when I say older batch of yogurt, I mean that if you've made your own yogurt, always take a small amount and keep it aside as your starter, and then you can make the next batch and then continue going on like that, so you won't have to purchase yogurt anymore from the supermarket. And you will find that it can be quite a big money saver. It is for our family, and I once calculated that by making my own yogurt, I actually save $700 every year, which is absolutely incredible when you think about it. Now, this recipe is giving you a recipe to make a sweet vanilla yogurt. So I'm just going to make a plain natural yogurt. So I'm not going to add any sugar or any vanilla. But the good thing about making your own yogurt, if you were to make a sweeter yogurt or flavoured vanilla yogurt, is that you're in control with how much sugar you want to put in. So some of those vanilla yogurts in the supermarket, which claim to be health foods, are very high in sugar. So if you still want to have a sweeter yogurt that is a little bit healthier, you can certainly minimise the amount of sugar going in. So then we just pop on the scales there. And here, normally it is preset. There's one step I was supposed to do before I went on here for it to be preset, but I'm going to preset it myself. So that's just 10 seconds on speed 4, and that's going to mix up the UHT yogurt, the starter, and the milk powder. And you'll see how quick and easy this recipe is, because I think I talk more longer than it actually is does to take to make this. So now it's asking us to select the warm up mode and set it for 40 degrees. So if we go into the little blade symbol there, you can set it manually, but there is up the top here what says mode, and here you do get all the different options of the mode. So I'm going to set the warm-up mode, and I'm going to set that for 40 degrees and just turn that on You just need it on the slower speed there, and that's just going to gently warm it up. Now, the warm-up mode is brilliant, and it has lots of different uses. So if you were just warming up a soup or a stew, you could use the warm-up mode. So quite often I might make myself a soup for lunch and have that for lunch, and then when the kids come home, I actually leave the soup in the Thermomix, and when they come home, especially in winter, I'll use the warm-up mode to warm it up, and it's good because you can set the temperature so it's not too hot, but it is warm enough to eat. The warm-up mode is actually really handy if you've got little ones and you need to warm up their milk. But it's also really handy too that if you're making any of those delicate sauces like hollandaise or béarnaise sauce, and as you know, if you've ever tried to warm that up in the microwave on the stove, it's very susceptible to splitting and separating. So you can warm it up on the warm-up mode on 37 degrees, and it will very gently warm it up. So that also minimises waste, because I know sometimes I might make some hollandaise and béarnaise sauce and have some left over and I don't want to throw it out. There is a way of warming it up very gently, and I believe you can freeze those sauces too and use the warm-up mode to warm them up as well. So this is already the larger number, the 40, you can see that's our goal of our temperature, and then there's a smaller number there, and it's already reached 40. So we can just press the dial to stop that. That's also our emergency stop button there. And next step is to decant that mixture into containers. So I'm actually just popping it to one of these vacuum seal containers. You can pick these up from the mix shop. You don't have to use them. If you wanted to actually make smaller individual yogurts using this recipe, you can. From the mix shop, you can get these little jars, and they've got silicone lids, and they're absolutely brilliant. I don't let my kids take these to school, but they'll have a little yogurt like this after school on most days. But if you had plastic containers, or even those, I know from Amazon, a lot of people buy the reusable squeezy yogurt containers as well. So that's a really great way to save money, because a lot of those cost anywhere between $1.50 to $2.50 for one pouch. But also, if you are concerned about the amount of plastic you're bringing home and so forth, and how much waste is coming from your home, using a recyclable container like that is really handy. But you can use any jars, like even jam jars, anything like that at all. So I'm going to make this all in one batch. So we're just going to pour that in. There we go. And that just fits perfectly. And I think that's why I like using these containers. And then the next step is to rinse this bowl out, but I've just got my second bowl handy, and I think that's sometimes the reason why our current offer with a second bowl is so good, is that sometimes if you're in a bit of a rush and it might have a step where you have to rinse the bowl or so forth, I just get another bowl and just keep going. And then what we need to do is add 250 grams of water, and you can pop the scales on, but I know that I've got about a cup of water there, so approximately it should be fine. And it's just asking us to add a little bit of acid, so you can use some, squeeze of lemon juice, some vinegar, or what I've got here is just some citric acid. So I just pop in a little bit over there. And then what we're going to do is pop that lid on, and we're going to stick the Varoma on. So just so you can see. Now, if you haven't been using your Varoma, do not be scared, because it is, you're just limiting yourself to so many recipes if you're not using this steaming unit here. So if you're not familiar with your Varoma, definitely book in with your consultant for a demonstration and cook a recipe together that uses the Varoma, because there are so many recipes where you could be cooking soups and stews and steaming vegetables and meat at the same time. And with electricity being so expensive, it's great to maximize that multi-level cooking all in one go with the Thermomix. So what we're going to do is pop this yogurt in the top here, just like so, and the lid on. And then it's just asking us to pop the fermentation mode, which is another mode there. So we'll stick on the modes there, and fermentation mode is there. So that's set for 8 hours, 70 degrees. I actually like my yogurt popping that on for 10 hours. So if I do have the time for that yogurt to sit a little bit longer, I actually change it to 10 hours because I just feel like it's a little bit nicer. And then we just turn the dial, and that fermentation mode will start working. So quite often I will put my yogurt on overnight because I just think, why not get your Thermomix working for you while you're sleeping? And then in the morning you'll wake up to fresh yogurt. And there's been a few times where I might make this on a Friday or Saturday night and sleep in, and this has gone off and still stayed there for a few hours extra. And I can assure you nothing's happened to that yogurt. So if you do find that you sleep in or you forget about your yogurt for a few hours, it's still going to be okay. So that will just sit in the background. You can hear the blades just moving around a little bit. That water will gradually warm up and then it just stays there, and this just sleeps, and you'll just feel like a legend making your own yogurt, and you can brag to everyone about it because it's pretty special. That's about it.
So much for all those great tips. Meanwhile, I've been eating the honeycomb in the background. So,
that's what Dinah normally does. She eats all the desserts.
We'll eat the honeycomb. Now, I'm guessing Mandy's biryani's ready. So thank you so much, Diana. I am so going to make that recipe. It's, you've excited me about trying a new recipe. I love it. So thank you so much.
The other thing, just with that, using the Varoma, doing the yogurt in the Varoma, English yogurt, that anyone who's got a TM31, you have a 2.2 litre thermoserver, and that will fit in the Varoma if you want to make it that way. Anyway, I am quickly going to show you this finished dish. Now, do you remember I put those eggs on? And they were medium cooked, so you can see they're still a little bit soft in the middle, but they did peel really well with that little tip of the banging the bottom with a spoon. But there it is, biryani with a few little bits of coriander on top, some chili. It does also say yogurt, but I'm not going to eat it tonight, so I wasn't going to put that on, but I will have it tomorrow night for dinner. So it's a really easy dish. If I wasn't doing it for the demo, I would have done those eggs yesterday and just had them sitting in the fridge. You could still have them on medium, and then just serve it up. Do the rest of it today. So well worth a try. I know both the others have made this as well, and we all reckon it's very delicious. Oh, and I don't know if you saw in the chat, I did a quick little Google. So 4 portions of biryani from a takeaway shop would cost you $60. I reckon this whole thing, which feeds 4 and generous 4, cost me 10. So another great money saving.
Can I butt in very quickly too? Because I forgot to mention that Cookidoo also have a whole lot of different yogurt recipes as well. So vanilla yogurts, berry flavoured yogurts, and even coconut yogurt as well. So if you can't have dairy, there are a few recipes for coconut yogurt as well.
Yum. Thank you so much. Thanks, Mandy. That is a great dish. I've made that as well. It's amazing. It's actually really great as a meal, but it's also a really nice side dish. If you've got a lot of people coming over, I've made, say, a butter chicken or a curry, and then, and I made that biryani rice as the side dish with that. And it's looks like you've gone to a lot of trouble, and as you say, and spent a lot of money, but you've just kind of done the old set and forget. Now, yeah. I've pulled this out of the oven. I just actually stole a piece of onion off to balance out the honeycomb I've been eating, and remembered that I'd got probably a little heavy-handed with my chili flakes, so it's got a lovely kick to it as well. But so how much would you pay for that if you were buying it in a bakery? A lot. So I know we've gone a bit over tonight. Actually, sorry, I should just cut into it and then before I bid you farewell. It's still a bit hot, so I don't want to touch it because it's fresh out of the oven. But I know my daughters are going to be, they've already been reaching their hand over the bench to steal some honeycomb, which is good because otherwise, saves me eating it all. Actually, the funny thing about the honeycomb is when I got my TM6, it was actually the very first thing I made because I wanted to make something that I couldn't make. Look at that. Yum.
Looks fantastic, Michelle. You could almost turn me into eating gluten.
I know, right? I wanted to make something that I couldn't make in any other Thermomix that I had. And so honeycomb was the very first thing I made. I think the next thing I made was toffees. Then I made another batch of honeycomb. And then I went, okay, Michelle, now, the Thermomix promotes healthy eating. It can be used for evil as well, but let's not go too evil. So I've balanced it out since then. Boiled eggs were a great way to balance that out. So thank you so much, ladies. We know we've gone a bit over, but we really tried to pack a lot in tonight. And the fact that you're all still here tells me that hopefully, you know, you're not asleep. You're actually hanging on, listening to our every word, and very excited. So we have covered a lot. If you've got any questions, please reach out to either me on that confirmation email or directly to your consultant to answer any questions. If you would like to purchase a Thermomix, either using our trade up option or our bowl option, again, ask your consultant and she can send you a bite sheet, or he, we've got a few men in the team now, can send you a link to purchase your Thermomix. And of course, there's been so many hints and tips tonight. And a lot of those hints and tips also get shared when you have your own demo. So things that we've used tonight, you can actually get as host rewards for hosting it just by having yourself and 2 or 3 friends over. We cook, you know, 2 or 3 dishes with you, talk about different functions, talk about different things, cater to you and your family, and you really learn a lot out of it. So things like Diana went to talk about, or was talking about the Varoma before, for example. So just really, you know, the TM6 is very intuitive, but there's lots of things that, you know, you don't know what you don't know. And we have learned so much from each other and over the years. So please use us. We, as you can see, we love to talk about our Thermomixes, that we want you to be out there loving your Thermomix. One of the things that we, you know, get the most upset about is if we meet someone who says, oh, I've got a Thermomix, I don't use it much. We're like, what? So we're all on this mission that, you know, there's a Thermomix at the heart of every kitchen. And we thank all of you so far who have invested in a Thermomix and are enjoying cooking them and all of that with us as well. One last little thing there, of course, as well, is that if you're looking at us going, these girls look like fun, I'd like to join them, give us a shout, because we'd love to have you on our team. We've got space on our team for a few more consultants, and we do have a really special offer which only goes for about 2 more weeks, where you can join the team and earn a TM6 with only 4 sales in your first 60 days as a consultant. So again, if you'd like to know more about that, please reach out to whoever invited you or directly to me, and I can invite you along to a biz and let your consultant know that you're coming along. Alrighty, I think that's everything, girls. So please go forth and cook whatever your heart desires. I hope you've learned something tonight. Please pop it in the chat, the thing that you've liked the most, and we look forward to cooking with you and for you again very soon. Good night, everybody. Thank you. Thanks so much to Mandy and Diana too. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Fun as always.